Well, hello. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. This is TTG Radio, episode 253, if I'm not mistaken. So today we are talking about why your weight might be up on the scale. And this is coming from personal experience over time, but also recently, which is why I felt like it was a fitting topic. Well, for multiple reasons. So I will share a story with you in a moment, but this is a question I go through with nutrition clients and training clients a lot. And it's so interesting because when I share this story with you from the last week, I feel like I've had a little Danny on my shoulder and just speaking into the ears of my clients. I'm saying these things to myself and I'm like, oh my God, Danny, you sound like you're preaching to your clients, because I have this conversation all the time. When you are dieting or not dieting and just going through and working on a healthy nutritional lifestyle and approach, it can be very frustrating when you're working on that weight loss, that body composition change, and you're not seeing results as fast as you want. And when you know you're putting in effort and you're not seeing results, it is so frustrating that it makes you want to do something drastic or stop completely and try another route. So I'm going to share with you my story, and then also throughout that story, probably share with you some different things that I want you to look for and think about when it comes to staying on the path. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, give a little nod to my Irish hat and my post-shower pajama gear. It's the colors are coordinating, but that's about all I got going for me right now. it's 7:50 p.m. and this episode needs to be out tonight so that it can be published and air by 6 a.m. tomorrow. Can we say it's going a little last minute? Yes. Not that that's an excuse. Or not, I don't really have a good excuse other than I've prioritized some other things today and over the weekend. Our digital nutrition course is launching next week to our beta testing group, meaning it's never launched before. So we are offering a significant discount to our first about 15 to 20 people that sign up and want to go through the course. So that will be launching next Tuesday. If you want information on it, you need to be on our email list. So if you want to be a part of that beta testing group and offer feedback on the course along the way for that discounted price, then head to the link will be in our description box, or you can go to www.ttgnwla.com. There will be a pop-up when you first get onto our website. Join our email list and you will get information about joining the course next week. If you're not ready for it, totally fine. We're going to relaunch it to the public after the beta launch is finished in January. So hang tight. If you're not ready, that's okay. But I just want to let y'all know that's what's happening. Okay, so my story. I have maintained, before I start, please don't think so hard on my numbers on the scale because they will probably be different from yours, and that is okay. We're all in different places of our journey. So I want you to think when I talk about these numbers, because I'm giving you real numbers, I want you to think about the difference from day to day. So my typical body weight that I have been able to maintain for the last couple of years without tracking my macros consistently or anything like that has been somewhere between 122 and 124. Maybe 125 if I'm super bloated. And a lot of times it could have been closer to 119, 120 if it was just, that kind of a week. So fluctuations are normal. That's probably the first thing I want to share with you. Fluctuations on a daily basis are normal. And those things happen for a variety of reasons. Some of them because we might intake a different amount of water on a daily basis. We might be inside versus outside or sweating a whole lot more or a whole lot less on a daily basis. Maybe we work out some days and we don't work out some days. Maybe our meal timing is off or different. So maybe sometimes we start eating earlier and we finish eating later, or vice versa. All those things can affect your fluid balance and retention, can affect your bowel movements, your fiber intake, and the types of calories that you take in on a daily basis can definitely affect how fast or how slow that food is moving through your stomach and your digestive tract and going all the way through you as material waste, or being digested and absorbed into your body to use those calories as energy for different functions in the body. So there's a lot of different things that can be going on, not to mention your time of month, ladies, or anything medical that's going on. So there's all of these different things that could be affecting that scale weight. Again, my normal, somewhere between 122 and 124, that's kind of my happy place. That is my energy balance or maintenance level. If you didn't know, I went to Ireland a little over a month ago. I guess I've been home for a little bit more than a month. And right before I left, I guess a couple weeks before I left, I started taking some aerial classes, and I did some different types of workouts while I was gone. And so my training regimen has changed a little bit. I'm still heavily weight training and like rehabbing my shoulder 3 to 4 times a week. So that part hasn't changed, just adding in some fun and new stuff. But about a week ago, maybe 5-6 days ago, I kind of was just feeling like my leggings weren't fitting quite the way that I wanted them to be. And I was physically uncomfortable, very bloated in that core abdominal area, in that lower gut area. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, for goodness sakes, like I haven't stepped on the scale in a few months. It's not something I typically do unless I'm tracking with a specific goal in mind. When that's the case, I step on it almost daily because I like to objectively look at it, and knowing that number helps me stick to my goals because I know I'm working towards something specifically. But usually I weigh in when I go to a doctor's appointment, and I might weigh in just for interesting, notes every couple of months. So I weighed in about 5 or 6 days ago, and the scale was up like 8 freaking pounds. And I was like, okay, well, at least I'm justified understanding that like I am super bloated or I have gained some weight. Like, what's going on, Danny? And so I start going down this rabbit hole, which my clients, I know a lot of you have done this. And so I'm feeling very relatable to you guys at this point. And I'm hoping that you can relate back to me while I'm sharing this, because just know that the nutrition coach is not always perfect and does not always do everything that she's supposed to, even though she knows it. So in my mind, I'm low-key freaking out. And I'm like, all right, Danny, like, what is going on? Why have you gained 8 pounds in a couple of weeks? Now, I don't know if I started gaining weight before I left for Ireland or in the month that I've been home from Ireland. It really doesn't matter. The fact is, I'm about 8 pounds. I was about 8 pounds above where my normal weigh-in was, my normal maintenance levels. So again, this is like where, Coach Danny is sitting on Danny's shoulder and like going through all of the reasons why this might be happening. And these are the things I want you guys to think about. I mentioned some of them earlier. So I'm like, all right, are there some logical reasons why my weight is up? What have I been doing differently? What is different in terms of my routine or my nutritional habits compared to what I was doing when I was maintaining at my normal weight? And what I came up with was this. And it's a combination of things. It usually is. So, like I mentioned earlier, I have kind of changed up and added in some new things to my fitness regimen. The reason this is important, not so much that I'm doing a little bit of extra activity, but these aerial classes that I'm taking are in the evenings. I typically train in the morning, and I like to finish eating my meals for the day by 6 p.m. Digestively, I just know that I feel best when I eat between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Like that's my 12-hour eating window. I'm not going to get into intermittent fasting here, talk about eating windows, but that's where I feel really good. So some of these classes have started at 6 p.m. or 6:30, meaning I don't finish until 7 or 7:30, and then I don't get home until 8, and then I'm eating dinner at like 8:15 or 8:30 at night, which means I'm not really finishing eating until 8:45. So that is, 2 to 3 hours later than what my digestive system is typically used to in terms of my eating window. So that's one big thing right there. Now, if I had been tracking and I was still hitting the same amount of macronutrients and calories daily, this might not have been a big deal. But I think in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm doing these extra classes. I want to make sure I'm getting in a full meal. I'm probably eating a quick carb source ahead of time, but then I was eating a full meal afterwards. So I quickly realized that not only was I just eating later in the evening, but I was eating an additional probably 400 to 500, maybe 600 calorie meal later in the evening. So I was I was overeating. So like when you overeat consistently, you gain weight unless you manage to balance out that energy expenditure, which I was not doing. So even though I had a little bit of extra energy expenditure from those classes, I had a lot of bit of extra eating. So my energy balance was off. I had put myself into a caloric surplus. So once I kind of realized that, I was like, oh, Danny, you should have known better. Like several things are stacking against you right now. I also had a change in a medication, and that could come with some excess bloating and hormonal changes. So there's always a few things typically that line up. But once I kind of went, okay, there are a few logical things here that are lining up that make sense as to why this has happened. Cool. Now what do I need to do to make a change? So I think for those of you going through something similar and all of a sudden you step on the scale and you're like, oh, my clothes aren't fitting the way that they're supposed to, something's not right. And then all of a sudden it's boom, like, okay, we're not where we want to be. What do we need to do? Take that step back, start going through your routines and figuring out what has changed, what is different, what is not going as it was when you were maintaining. So objectively look at that. So what I decided to do was track. I decided to track my nutrition, and I use my Fitness Pal just like I recommend to my clients. And I've had a set of macro goals in there for, again, a couple of years. And when I decide to track intermittently from time to time, I just go right back to those because I know that that works for me. And my diary is open to the public. So if you want to follow me on my Fitness Pal and see what I've been tracking, you are more than welcome to do so. And actually, I encourage you to take a peek, especially if you're a client of mine listening. But I started tracking and I started weighing in daily to help hold myself accountable. Now, I did not do anything drastic. I did not change my maintenance goals to be in a calorie deficit, although my maintenance macro numbers are actually a deficit compared to the excess surplus that I have been eating. Again, because I wasn't tracking, I don't know how much extra I was eating, but we've been getting a lot of Giuseppe's pasta, so it was probably a lot. We can overeat on healthy foods. It is 110% possible, and I've clearly been doing it. So anyway, my macro goals, let's see, have been, I'm aiming for roughly 125 grams of protein per day, about 200 grams of carbs, and 70 to 80-ish grams of fat. So that's what I'm aiming for on a daily basis. And so I've hit that roughly the last 4 or 5 days. And like I said, I've weighed in on my Fitbit scale the last couple of days. And I just wanted to share those numbers with you so that you could see or hear the small, tiny changes that can occur consistently on a daily basis. So let's see, I tracked today, yesterday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Yep, okay. So just 4 or 5 days. So that first day that I weighed in to figure out, like, oh crap, I am not where I want to be, I was, okay, so that was Thursday. I was at 130.1. Like I said, I feel really comfortable around 122. So started tracking Thursday, Friday, weighed in at 129.6. So that was nice to know I was down about a half a pound. Saturday, 129.4. So I was only down 0.2 pounds. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. They come in and we sit down and they're like, this whole week I was only down 0.1 pounds or 0.2 pounds or only a half a pound. Y'all, a half a pound to a pound a week is solid. Like, it really is. Every tenth of a pound counts. And so it was just a little comical in my head when I had that thought of like, it's only 0.2 down. And I'm like, Danny, you tell clients all the time that that's fine. It's totally fine. It doesn't, you don't just, if you're up 8 pounds and you don't know how long it took you to gain 8 or 10 pounds, it's not going to come off overnight. Like, that's just not how it works. So I'm telling myself all these things. So that was Saturday. It was 129.4. Sunday was 129.2. So again, it was down 0.2 pounds. And then this morning, I was down to 127.8. So that again is also something I see consistently is somebody might have no weight loss for a couple of days and then they might drop a pound or two, or they might have consistent slow drops and then a bigger drop. And I've also seen where there's a little bit of a weight fluctuation up and then they drop a pound or two. So consistency is key here. It really, 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 truly is. Now, tomorrow, I almost expect my weight to be up a little bit, maybe by like, I don't know, 0.2 pounds, because I had a training, or I took a pole fitness class tonight, and that class was from 5:30 to 6:30, and I had a protein shake on my drive home, and then I ate some sushi that I had pre-tracked to make sure it fit into my goals for the day. So again, knowing that I didn't finish eating until 7 p.m. and I'm trying to get back into stopping my food intake by 6 p.m., I might be up a little bit tomorrow morning. We shall see. I'm not going to get frustrated or stressed about it. I'm already feeling the bloating go down. So I know there's a couple different factors at play, but I just wanted to share this little mini like 4 or 5 day adventure with y'all, because if your scale weight is up, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've blown it, or that you can't lose that weight, or you can't get back to a place where you feel comfortable. But it's just an indicator to take a step back, objectively look at what you have going on, and then make some calculated changes on what to do consistently. It doesn't have to be anything drastic. It doesn't have to be, let me cut my calories in half. It doesn't have to be, let me cut out all the carbs. Please don't cut out all the carbs, y'all. It's not a good idea. More often than not, it's not a good idea. It's just go back to what you can do consistently. Eat the food that fuels your day. Eat the food and the beverages that fuel your workouts and fuel your lifestyle. There's no sense in being miserable and not being able to cognitively function when you're trying to work and prepare. Just be present for your family in the way that you need to be present. So that is what I have to say there. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you can relate a little bit more to me if you are listening for nutritional advice and you know that I don't have it right all the time. I don't just have the body type that I have and the body style that I have was not given to me. I work hard for it every single day, every single week. And I do have to stay on top of my nutrition, because if I don't, I will overindulge and I will eat a little bit too much, and I will, I have my moments where I overdo it just like anybody. So I have to find ways to hold myself accountable, and then share that experience to hope that it helps you as well. So if you have questions about this, definitely send me an email or a DM. I'll put that information in the description box below. And again, if you're interested in our digital nutrition course, then I would love to have you be a part of the beta testing group. Again, go join our email list, ttgnwla.com, and sign up there with the pop-up. So love you guys. We'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye for now.